Happy National Day, parents. Very good afternoon, parents of our P3 and P4 students. We want to welcome you to our Parents Connection session. This session comprises two segments. One will be an address by myself, and my VP will brief you on some important matters. The second section will be a Q&A session. So if you have any questions, do send in your questions via the QR code at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Okay, so let us now transit to the first segment, and we will be back with you very soon.
Good afternoon, parents. Welcome to our Parents Connection session. I'd like to begin this session by expressing our appreciation for you, especially during our HBL sessions. In addition, we also want to thank you for your understanding and your cooperation when we reopened our school in phases. We reopened our school in phases into a new normal of wearing masks, a new normal of heightened personal hygiene, a new normal of social distancing, a new normal of teaching our children social responsibility. While all these safe distancing, safe management measures change, our routines change, but what remains unchanged is our vision, our mission, and our values. Our mission: a lifelong learner and a virtuous leader. We endeavor to grow each and every Laker who enters our gates into lifelong learners and virtuous leaders. And we achieve that by nurturing critical thinkers, active contributors, and responsible leaders who are anchored in our school values of love, perseverance, responsibility, integrity, diligence, and respect. We are also committed to our mission of providing quality education to nurture wholesome individuals. We place our students in the center of all our programs, our plans, and our decisions. And it's important to us that we provide each child a unique Laker Total School experience. This is our Laker Total School Experience Framework. There are 4 components: the environment, relationships, curriculum, teaching, and learning. Let's look at the first 2, environment and relationships. We are committed to establishing caring and enabling environment for our students. And this not only refers to our physical environment, but also the psychosocial environment, which is safe, inviting, and inclusive. And we wanted to make sure that that happens even during home-based learning. In order to ensure the development and well-being of all our students, we have a committed team dedicated to looking into these areas. So our student development team ensures that there's holistic development at each level, as well as across the levels and across the domains. And during our home-based learning, we wanted to ensure that learning is accessible to every child. And that resulted in more than 100 school laptops being loaned out to our students. We set up helplines in order to support and to address all queries and needs that were surfaced by our students and our parents. For students whose parents are essential workers or students who require that extra nudge and supervision in school. We had home-based learning in school. And while doing all that, we were gathering feedback every now and then to ensure that we kept improving ourselves to meet the needs of our students. Relationships. It is important to our students, relationships. And we want to ensure that we nurture supportive relationships between our teachers and our students, as well as among the students themselves. There are many platforms that we grow supportive teacher-student relationships at the different levels. At the cohort level, the class level, and the individual level, all through the different activities that we have planned out for our students. And through the crisis, there was opportunity. There were opportunities that our teachers actually saw emerging. One of which is the fact that our students had to report directly to the classrooms, and they capitalized on that opportunity to engage our students one-to-one, just to build the relationship with them, just to have a chit-chat session, just to find out how they're doing and how we can support them better. What amazing teachers. Peer relationships. Peer relationships are important to our students, if not even more important, especially to our upper primary students. And we will ensure through the various platforms where we provide peer bonding, peer influencing, as well as to empower peer helping behavior. And during HBL, how did we maintain, sustain, continue these relationship building between teachers and peers through our Google Meet sessions by our form teachers as well as by our subject teachers. And in a week, we have our students meeting our teachers and their friends at least 4 times a week. Let's delve into the last 2 components of our Lakeside Total School experience, the curriculum and teaching and learning. This is our total curriculum map, which comprises the curriculum and the co-curriculum. Even during HBL, we provided and ensured that there's a balanced and holistic curriculum for our students. We ensured that each subject is allocated a time slot, including subjects like PE, character and citizenship education, music, and the arts were given a time slot where children were engaged in the development in these areas. While it was relatively easy for us to ensure that holistic development in the curriculum, it was slightly more challenging for us to ensure that development in the co-curriculum. And that required our staff and our teachers and my key personnel to engage in reframing, reimagining, and redesigning so we can continue to bring these positive learning experiences to our students. Our core curriculum is undergoing a lot of reimagining and redesigning, and you will see how it will turn out when we offer it to our students. Redesigned events, redesigned activities. You see some of these out there already. So for example, our e-open house, it's up on our school website, and if you have not seen it, I encourage you to go take a look and have an inside view of the school on the website. A second activity is the ECCA, and I'm sure you have received the letters, school letters from your child, from the school. In fact, on your child participating in these ECCAs. So consider and encourage your child to participate in these ECCAs. Even our prefect exco nominations have gone online. Have your child shared that with you? And once these shortlisted exco nominees are put up, they will be involved in e-campaigning, just like our GE. Other signature programs like our Thinkers with Heart applied learning program, which engages our students in creative problem solving, in strengthening the digital capabilities, in communication, as well as living out their values. These are all redesigned so that we can continue despite the safe management measures. Learning continues, and who knows, we will discover more exciting ways of doing old things new ways. Another signature program is the Stars with Hearts, our Learning for Life program. It's also undergoing redesign. And what you're familiar with, Basking with Hearts, will take a very different look, and the children will experience it with a slight twist. All these redesigning of our programs and activities and our events really shows up the leader of our teachers in their own right. The agility, the creativity, the openness to change. And this is all in line with our 2020 theme of Shine as Leaders. And our teachers are role modeling for our students. We've communicated to our students right at the beginning of the year that every single one of them can be a leader. And there lies within each one a leader. Our teachers also very quickly took the opportunity of our students who were back in school for home-based learning and engaged them in Project Explore, a new initiative where students were engaged in little projects for a duration of time where they learned the value of delayed gratification, and they learned to be creative and to problem solve, and where they also learned to be resourceful and use recycled materials to put their projects together. These are just some pictures of our students with their little projects. Another opportunity out of the crisis is the strengthening of digital capabilities, not just of our teachers, but of our students as well. It was during this very short period that our teachers explored video conferencing platforms together with our students, and our teachers designed online lessons so just that learning can continue, and our teachers developed digital resources so that they can continue to give feedback for our students in their learning. And we do all that so that we can nurture future-ready learners who are self-directed, who are able to collaborate online and offline. And we couldn't have done all of that without your partnership. We want to thank you, and we want to encourage you to continue to support, motivate, encourage your child in your role as parents, to recognize and capitalize on their strengths, to appreciate the little efforts that they put in, as well as to focus on the process and not just the end result. And at the end of it, to nurture children with positive mindsets, which will go a long way with them in life. We also want to appeal to you to continue to work with the school, to work with your teachers, to grow your students, grow your children in their strengths and their interests, to continue to have that open channel of communication with the school and with your subject teachers. Continue to partner us as we are on the same side, as we want to partner you to develop your child holistically. So let's work hand in hand. Let's work together with all our other partners, stakeholders, and partners in the community, because it takes a village to raise a child. With that, I thank you.
Good afternoon, parents. Thank you for joining us for this P3 and P4 Parents Connection session. Today, I will share with you 3 topics: EduSave Awards and Bursary, Subject-Based Banding SBB for P4s, PSLE and Sec 1 Posting 2021. I will start with the EduSave Merit Bursary and the Good Progress Awards or GPA. What is EMB or EduSave Merit Bursary? This is applicable to all our P3 and P4 students. Let me go through the criteria for this award first. Number 1, they have to be Singapore citizens, students who are within the top 25% of their own level in terms of academic performance, they've demonstrated good conduct, and the monthly household income does not exceed 6,900. Students must not be recipients of an EduSave scholarship. The award amount for P3 is $200 and for P4 $250. I'll move on to the Good Progress Award. For Primary 4, the criteria is as follows: Singapore citizen, students who are within the top 10% of the school's level in terms of improvement in academic performance and good conduct. The award amount would be $150. Okay, next, the EduSave Good Progress Award for Primary 3. The criteria as follows: Singapore citizen, students who do not qualify for EduSave Merit Bursary but showed the greatest improvement in learning disposition within the year. I'll explain learning disposition later. Have demonstrated good conduct. The award amount is $100. So for the award notification, you will receive a notification letter from MOE if your child is eligible, and you'll receive the award monies by check. The learning disposition at Lakeside Primary School, let me explain a little bit further. For more information, you can actually refer to the student handbook pages 12 to 13. So at Lakeside Primary School, the personal qualities are the learning disposition, and these include the skills and attitudes that our students develop as they spend their growing years journey in Lakeside Primary School. In total, we have 5 learning dispositions which are aligned to our school values and vision. They are communication, reflection, managing self, motivation, and teamwork. Let me explain a few in detail. Just to give you an example, for the learning disposition or PQ of communication for the P3s and P4s, the statements reflected there are the expectations. So for example, for P3 and P4, they're expected to be able to contribute ideas and solve problems. For reflection, they're able to identify what they know and do not know. The learning disposition of managing self is aligned to all the different school values. Let me give you 2 examples here. The managing self that is aligned to integrity. The P3 and 4 students should be able to stand up for what is right despite peer pressure. For managing self under diligence, the P3 and 4 students should be able to set realistic learning goals and work towards achieving them. So these are just examples. For more details, you may want to refer to the student handbook. So learning dispositions at Lakeside Primary School. Basically, the teachers will give sufficient opportunities throughout the whole year for them to observe the positive traits that demonstrate the students' learning dispositions. The form teachers will also gather inputs and feedback from subject teachers and year head on the students' learning disposition. I'm going to move on now to the next topic, subject-based banding, which takes place at the end of P4. Let me share with you the intent of SBB, or subject-based banding first. This is implemented in all primary schools to achieve ability-driven education. What it means is that students can take subjects at different levels, standard level for the better subjects, and subjects that need more work at foundation level. This is of course dependent on their attitudes and abilities in these subjects. All this is actually meant to build a strong foundation in literacy and numeracy so that they can progress to secondary school successfully. Schools will recommend the most appropriate subject combinations, and when we do this, we have in mind the opportunity to maximize students' potential and prepare them adequately for progression to secondary and post-secondary courses. So let me take you through the whole journey that P4 child will take. At the end of P4, he sits for the school-based examinations, or SA2. The school will then recommend a subject combination based on the student's results. I'll go into details in a while. Parents will then fill in option form indicating the preferred subject combination. The student will take the subject combination chosen by the parents at P5. So we'll take it for the whole year, and this could be English, language, mathematics, science, and mother tongue languages at either standard or foundation subjects. Or it could be some subjects at standard and some at foundation level. Higher mother tongue is another subject available at P5. At the end of P5, the school will assess the student's ability to cope with the current subject combination at the end of the year, and we will make adjustments to the number of standard and foundation subjects if necessary. At primary 6, the student will then take the subject combination decided by his school and sit for the PSLE at the end of primary 6. This summarizes the choices available. So let me take you through the different choices. If they pass all 4 subjects and perform very well in mother tongue language, the child may be recommended to take 4 standard subjects and higher mother tongue. If they pass 3 or 4 subjects, they will be offered 4 standard subjects. Should they pass 2 subjects or fewer than 2, they can be given different combinations from 4 standard subjects or standard subjects with foundation subjects, for example 2 standard subjects and 2 foundation subjects. Or if we feel the child will benefit better at foundation courses, then we'll offer 4 foundation subjects. At the end of P5, the pupil takes the subject combination determined by the school. So at the end of P5, if the pupil does very well, he will continue with the same subject combination. There is an opportunity for the child to upgrade, but this we will consider case by case. Pupils who do not meet expectations, for some subjects, we will offer them at foundation level. For most pupils, it will be continuation of the same subject combination, which they will take at PSLE at the end of P6. So this gives you an overview of the secondary school pathways. Come 2024, which is currently our P3 students, we will have one secondary school education, many subject bands. So some schools are already starting on full SBB, and by 2024, this will offer in all secondary schools. So students can take a combination of G1, 2 or 3 Gs for general subject combination based on the PSLE scores and suited to their pace of learning. In 2027 secondary 4, we have another change, which is one common certificate. So students will sit for the common national examination and receive a new national certificate that reflects the G1, G2 or G3 subjects. We'll now move on to the new PSLE scoring from 2021. As you are aware, 2021, we will have new PSLE scoring system with wider scoring bands. Under the new PSLE scoring system, students will no longer be finely differentiated from each other. Instead, students with similar scores will be grouped into the same achievement level or AL. There will be 8 ALs, with AL1 being the best. This table shows the respective AL and the raw mark range. The student's AL will reflect his own level of achievement. This means once he meets the learning objectives of the curriculum, he will receive the AL, regardless of how his peers have performed. The 4 subject ALs will be added to form the PSLE score. The PSLE score replaces the total score aggregate or T-score aggregate. The PSLE score ranges from 4 to 32, with 4 being the best. Students will be placed in the secondary school courses based on the PSLE score. This shows an example of a child who has standard subjects, English, mother tongue, mathematics and science, and the respective AL scores. The child has a total of 8 PSLE score, which means he's eligible for the express stream. If you take a look at the table of the placement outcome and the PSLE score, you will note that for normal technical, the PSLE score expected will be 26 to 30. So with AL 7 or better in both English and mathematics. For the foundation level subject grades, is less finely differentiated. So under the new AL system, to reduce fine differentiation among students, foundation subject students will be graded in 3 scoring bands from AL A to C. Like standard subject ALs, the foundation subject ALs will also reflect the students' level of achievement rather than how they performed relative to their peers. So this table also shows the foundation level AL and the respective raw mark range. Please take note that for S1 posting, foundation level ALA to ALC will be mapped to AL6 to 8 of the standard level subjects respectively to derive the student's overall PSLE score. So similar to current PSLE score, this mapping is based on the learning and assessment load of the subjects and informs the students of their readiness to assess the curriculum at the secondary level. So if you take note there in the table, you will see that foundation level ALA, the mark range being 75 to 100, is equivalent to standard subject AL6, the mark range 45 to 64. So let's give you an example on this. A child who takes both standard and foundation subjects. So if you note, this particular child takes English and science at standard level. So it's got AL3 for English and AL5 for science. Mother tongue and mathematics at foundation levels, ALB and AL, both are ALB. So ALB is equivalent to AL7. So the total PSLE score for this child will be 22, and he will be eligible for Express NA option. So for students offering mix of standard and foundation level subjects, the PSLE scores will be the sum of the AL scores of all standard and foundation subjects they are taking. So this summarizes how the PSLE scoring works for a child taking purely standard and for a child taking a combination of standard and foundation subjects. I'll now move on to Secondary 1 posting from 2021. The choice out of schools will matter more in 2021. Academic merit still remains the first criterion for secondary school posting. If 2 students with the same PSLE score vie for a place in a secondary school, the following tiebreakers will be used. Citizenship, firstly. Secondly, choice order of schools, which is new, and computerized balloting. So with that, I've come to the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for joining us.
Welcome back, parents, to our P3 Q&A session. Again, just a reminder, if you do have questions, do send it in via our QR code on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Let me begin by introducing my wonderful panelist here with me. Let's begin with HOD English, Mrs. Walker.
Hello.
My HOD for Math, Madam Goh.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon.
My HOD for Science, the one and only man among us, Mr. Chin.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
My two VPs, Madam Salbia,
Hello, good afternoon.
and my other VP, Miss Uma.
Good afternoon.
Good
And
afternoon.
then we have our subject head for Tamil language, Mrs. Kuma,
Hi everyone, good afternoon.
and our year head for primary 3 and 4, Mrs. Chi.
Hello everyone.
Okay, so looks like we are all ready, all set to answer some of the questions. We'll try our best to answer all your questions. And if we do not to worry, we'll either respond to you personally if it's more appropriate, or you will find the Q&A put up on our school website. So look out for it. First question, with the current situation, COVID-19 situation, how will the school carry out the outdoor lessons or the level programs? Let's have Mrs. Chi, our year head for middle primary, to respond to this question. Mrs. Chi, please.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Goh, for the question. So for the more physical activities that requires more interaction or they are conducted outdoors, like the P3 swimming and the P4 camps, with the children's safety as our top priority, they have to be cancelled. As for the rest of the learning programs, we have been working on redesigning them to maximize the delivery of the learning objectives to the students. For instance, instead of bringing the P3 children out for theatre experience, we had actually brought the theatre experience virtually into the school for the students. Likewise, for the P4 Heritage Trail to Kampong Glam, we are looking into bringing authentic learning of the Malay culture and the place virtually in the school for them. For our applied learning programs, they will be continued, but of course with modifications. For the P3 ALP, instead of getting the students to share the Lego bricks, we had actually top out the Lego bricks so that the students will get their individual set of Lego bricks, so they do not have to share the Lego bricks when they are creating the prototypes. And for the P4 Applied Learning Program, of creating fractured fairy tales for the P1 buddy reading, now that the P4 children can't intermingle with the P1 students, we are leveraging on technology to deliver the learning outcomes. Very soon, our P4 students will be going through Scratch programming lessons to create animated scenes for their stories and voice over the video. The videos will then be shared to the P1 students during their reading. Hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. G. So you can see that whatever we do is student-centric. It revolves around the students, and our priority is the health and the safety of our children and our teachers. Okay, so let's go on to the second question here. It's on subject-based banding. Okay, so can my VP, Madam Salbia, to take this question. So the question goes like this: can parents choose a different subject combination from the ones recommended by the school? So I think this would be P4 child, P4 parent asking. Madam Salbia, please.
Yeah, okay. So at the end of P4, end of the year, your child, all students will be sitting for the year-end examination. And based on the end of the year examination results, the school will recommend a subject combination, which is most appropriate for the student. And this combination can be all 4 standard subjects, it can be all 4 foundation subjects, or a combination of standard and foundation subjects. And the subject combination that is recommended for your child will enable your child to maximize his or her potential, so that the child is able to prepare for the progression to secondary school. So that's the intention. So at the end of the year, when the result slip was given, will be given to you, it will come together with the recommended subject combination and a parental option form. So in this form, parent can choose the subject combination different from what has been recommended by the school. However, we would like to strongly encourage you to take on the same subject combination that has been recommended, because it is already recommended to be suited for your child. And if you still would prefer to change the subject combination, do connect with the form teachers. The form teachers will be able to talk to you and discuss with you and provide you information about your child's ability to cope with the different subjects, your child's attitude towards learning, and all these make a lot of difference when it comes to the subject combination. You need to make a good decision on the subject combination, even though you are given the choice. You are able to indicate in the parental option form. And we also want parents to know that if your child is being offered foundation level, it is not a disadvantage to your child, because it helps them to build the fundamentals of the subjects and enable the child to move on to the secondary school better, because he's well prepared for it. So whatever subject combination that is recommended, it is best suited for your child. Yes, you can opt for a different subject combination at the end of the year. However, our encouragement is for you to take the subject which is recommended by the school. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Saubia. Okay, let's go on to a question which is more specific about the subjects here. It says here, so Mrs. Walker, can you take this question, please? It's on improving composition. So how do we help our child improve on his or her composition? Mrs. Walker?
Thank you, Mrs. Go, for the question. Thanks, parents, for asking that question. So when we are looking at improving composition, we need to consider two aspects: the content development and the language accuracy. So content development is related to whether the story is complete, whether it has enough details for the reader to fully understand what is going on, and whether it is interesting enough for the reader to continue reading. So to help build content development, as parents, you could familiarize yourself with the Story Mountain template that we use in our school. So this Story Mountain template is a planning template that the children do use. It helps with the planning of the story so that the children are sure of the sequence of events when writing. And also it reminds the child that in every piece of writing, there should be a problem. The story should move towards a peak, and then after that there's a resolution or an attempt to solve the problem. When adding details to the story, you could also consider engaging your child in writing about scenarios. Writing a composition or practicing for a composition doesn't mean that your child has to write full-length essays. It could just be a simple paragraph about a scenario. So for example, you could ask him or her to write a short paragraph of when there is a heavy downpour and they're stuck at a bus stop, for example. Then use their five senses to describe the scene. What do they see? What do they hear? What do they touch or feel? So when it comes to language accuracy, we are looking at whether the writing is grammatically accurate and if the words used are appropriate. So you could help your child become familiar with common words that he or she may use in his writing, not just the meaning, but also the spelling. And you can also encourage your child to use sentence structures that he is familiar with. And then as he gains more confidence, he can explore more complex structures. The last thing I want to say is that this may be a cliched piece of advice, but your child should read widely. Encourage your child to read widely, because we all start out writing by modeling after good writers. So don't stick to just one author. And also, comic books are fine, but your child should not just read comic books. So read a variety. But that being said, please do not go out to popular bookstore later after this to go and buy all the model compositions that you can find. Okay, and then after that, you ask your child to memorize everything in it. Writing is a process, and we also want to help your child discover his or her style and his or her own voice. So we shouldn't be making them memorize compositions and then hope and pray that the same topic comes out in the exam for them to rewrite it from memory. Yeah, so these are just some suggestions that I have at this point in time, but there are many more other ways that you can help your child. So I would encourage you to engage your child's English teacher if you feel like if you feel that you want to find out more, and the English teacher will be able to provide more specific suggestions that pertain to your child with you. Yeah, so thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Walker. Let's move on to a question on science. So, Mr. Chin, this is for you. How do we prepare children from lower block science to upper block science? So, P3's child may be going up to upper block, so parents may want to prepare for that, or a P4 child is struggling with it. Mr. Chin, please.
Okay, thank you, parents, for the question. A lot of parents will have concern for children moving up from the middle primary P3, P4 to P5, P6. And the feedback usually year after year is that the demand for the subjects gets higher when you go to P5 and P6. Just a reminder for parents, the middle primary curriculum is a foundation for the learning to prepare them for P5, P6 learning. So our curriculum, the science curriculum, is spiral, meaning to say that a lot of the topics or content they're learning in P3, P4, you will revisit them again in P5, P6 at more depth. So having said that, it's very important to prepare your child for the upper primary science curriculum. You need to understand what areas of learning gaps your child have at P3 and P4. For science learning, there are two aspects that are very important. It's not just a content, not how much your child remember of certain scientific facts, but also your child's ability to express and to explain phenomena around them using scientific concepts. So there are 3 tips here that I can give you. Number 1, please do not throw away the P3 and P4 textbook. They are very valuable resources for your child to refer to when they need to revisit the foundation concepts, which are not sure when they go to P5 and P6. The second piece of advice is very important. You need to encourage your child to read the textbook. It's very important because as they read the textbook, they learn how scientific concepts are used to explain phenomena around them. But having reading a textbook is not good enough because your child needs to be exposed to more general situation or unfamiliar situation around them. And the third piece of advice is do encourage your child to read widely. As what Mrs. Walker had mentioned, your child, by reading widely, non-fiction books, books of interest to your child on scientific concepts or matters will help. And also do consider watching the old school documentaries. They're very interesting because at least it's something that your child can watch and understand, because certain concepts like environment is very difficult for a child to understand abstract concepts, except for watching bring them to the real place or habitat to view how the different organisms are interacting. So watching documentaries are also very important. And finally, children are naturally curious. So do allow your child to have time to explore, go outdoor and look at the environment, nature, and explore things around the house. And also encourage your child to ask questions and allow them to explain what they see around them using their own words. It's all right that at this level, the explanation may not be very accurate, But you can always ask them, go and find out or go and read a textbook or a non-fiction book to find out whether your explanation is right or wrong. So these are some of the tips I can give you. Most importantly, do encourage your child and also speak to the teachers to find out what are the learning gaps. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chin. This question may be of interest to many of you on math. So, Madam Go will take this question, please. My child is weak in model drawing. How can I help my child improve in model drawing, and can other methods be used as well? Madam Go, can you address this question, please?
Right, sure. Thank you for the question. Yeah, so in mathematics, when they are at the lower primary, they learn how to do pictorial representation, right? So they use pictures to represent and then to solve the problems that they are facing. So when they grow to middle primary, at primary two, they will start to be exposed to model. So it's from the pictorial to a more abstract form of drawing, which in maths we call the model. So model drawing in mathematics are actually bar models. So we use rectangles to represent quantities, and also to use rectangles to represent the relationship between the different quantities in the same question. So in fact, model drawing is actually a form of algebraic thinking, to develop algebraic thinking for future use. So model is we use model in a maths classroom to help develop that. So in order to improve on model drawing, which you are saying that your child, how to help them improve, I would suggest that you can try drawing the model for questions that you already know. So they have to make sense of the rectangular representation, the abstract representation of the question they already know, starting from one step word problem, starting from the very basic question. So, and then most importantly, the model must make sense to each individual. So the children can be learning how to draw the model, but when they solve the problem, two different children who solve the problem correctly may use different model to represent the solution, for example. Yeah. So this is how you can improve on model drawing. All right. And then if you have further question and you do have specific issues you're facing with model drawing, of course, the maths teachers, your child maths teachers will be the best person to give you more advice. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Go. Next question is on class allocation. Can I get Ms. Uma to answer this question, please? So how is class allocation done from P4 to P5? Yeah, Ms. Uma, can you take this question?
Thank you. All right, I know class allocation is always a question that will come up for different levels. From P3 to P4, I think no issues. You know that they will be going on block. P4 to P5, because of the subject-based banding, there are several considerations. The first consideration is, of course, the subject combination, whether the child takes foundation subject or subject at standard level. So that's the first criteria used. Secondly, there are non-academic considerations like the dynamics of the students, if there are any needs that we need to take into consideration. And thirdly, the learning pace of the students. Of course, for all classes, another consideration, of course, is gender and racial composition. We ensure a good mix, good balance, so that the experience for the students is as real as it can get. We don't want a class with all boys, right? So we want to have girls as well. So we do consider that as well. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Uma. Let's take a question on mother tongue. Right? It says, so Mrs. Kuma, this is for you. Would taking higher mother tongue help the child in the performance of standard mother tongue? Mrs. Kuma, please.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Parents firstly note that the syllabus for higher mother tongue and standard mother tongue are different. Secondly, the assessments for both the curriculums focus at different learning outcomes of students. Therefore, we may not say that taking higher mother tongue will definitely help standard mother tongue. Rather, we would like to encourage students to take higher mother tongue if they are doing well for standard mother tongue, as well as for English, math, and science subjects. This is because we do not want your child to struggle later at P5 or P6 levels because they cannot meet the demands of all the subjects. Also take note that higher mother tongue scores will not be included in the aggregation of the PSLE score. Higher mother tongue results will be reflected in the PSLE certificate as distinction, merit, or pass. Only students taking higher Chinese language will have a posting advantage for admission to SEP schools. I hope I've answered your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Kumar. Okay, a question on CCA here. Okay, so for CCA, it's now conducted via ECCA, right? So how do students gain the skill from a musical instrument if they do not actually touch it? It's difficult, it's challenging, but there are very, very strong reasons for us to go ECCA for the moment. Important for us to protect our children as well as our teachers, and to minimize intermingling as far as we can. And you know, for CCAs, our children come from all the different classes and all the different levels, and that's why we want to minimize it. So maybe Madam Saubia, can you uh, address this question, please?
Okay, thank you. Regarding the students gaining the skills from musical instruments when they don't even touch it, yes, we have smaller instruments such as harmonica, which the children has already taken home. Guchen, yes, children are allowed to loan out. And we are having plans also for the concert band to have the smaller items that they can also loan out to take it home so that they can practice. Besides practicing with the instrument, the ECCA for aesthetics CCA also enable the children to hone their skills in listening and analyzing of the musical pieces. So the coaches will go through the other skills besides just playing the instrument, so that the child become an all-rounded musical understanding and appreciation. Besides that, there are theoretical knowledge that the children need to know, some technical skills on playing the instrument through the analysis using the video. So there are other ways in which the children will be able to get these skills of playing the instrument rather than just specifically just having the instrument with them at home. So to answer your questions, there are provision made to take home the smaller instruments, and also the coaches have made other provisions such that your child will learn other skills other than just playing the instrument. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Saubia. There's another question on, again, concern about the circuit breaker period and how we were on full HBL for a month. How will teachers be arranging for students to catch up with the planned curriculum in school? So can Miss Uma, can you take this question, please?
Okay, yes, I think we have been asked this question by different parents in different ways. But basically, I want to assure you, firstly, that even before we went into the HBL period, we did do a review of the scheme of work and we planned out the scheme of work. So during the HBL period, we selected topics that will naturally be easy for children to follow through remote learning and teaching. So during the HBL period, we took care of that. We are very, of course, aware that in-class teaching, face-to-face teaching, and HBL are totally two different experiences. So even while the children were on HBL, our teachers already started planning for in-class support and how to bridge the learning gaps, how to really teach the main concepts and ensure that learning continues. So when we redid the scheme of work for post-HBL period, we took all this into consideration. So there will be no compromises in the delivery of the learning content. The critical learning content and skills and outcomes will still be delivered. How we have actually planned is to use more creative in-class strategies
to ensure that we can deliver what has already been planned, and our teachers have already been doing that. So since they return after HBL, our teachers are on track. The scheme of work has already factored in all this. So you must remember that now it's purely really teaching, because our students are not going out for outdoor learning. We are looking at how to provide the same experience in a different way. So a lot of time is freed up, and this is actually used during curriculum time for the teachers to catch up. So teachers do a lot of catching up during curriculum time already, and they do also have remedial sessions for small groups of students who may need it. But other than that, most students are on track. If not, they will also be contacting you and working with you, the parents. So work along with the teachers, and not to worry. We for this year, the scheme of work will carry on as we have planned. Thank you.
Thank you, Uma. Okay, this question is on subject-based banding. So Saubia, you may want to talk a little bit about the AL. So it says here, how will the children be allocated for standard or foundation level? And how will it affect their AL score in PSLE? So for our P3s and P4s, they will be under the achievement level scoring, no longer the T score for PSLE. So Saubia, would you be able to take this question, Saubia?
Okay. Yeah. So for students who are sitting for the SBB, their marks will be in the AL scores, which we have AL1 being the best and AL8 is the lowest. So based on these ALs, your child will then be allocated standard or foundation level. So for if your child is scoring AL8, probably for that subject, your child will be definitely given the foundation subject. So based on the marks, based on the AL of the four subjects, your child then will be allocated either for standard, for foundation, or like I said earlier on, a combination of standard as well as foundation subjects. And how will this affect the AL score in PSLE? You know that the AL score in PSLE is the total of all the four subjects, AL of the four subjects. And the total AL score will then be met against the allocation for Express, NA, and NT. So then from then on, you will notice that if your child consistently is doing well, even if your child is taking foundation subject, combination with a standard subject, there is always possibility for your child to go to the Express or the NA stream in the secondary school. So the most important thing is to consistently do well in the school internal exam as well as the PSLE exam in order for you to achieve an AL score so that your child will be placed in Express, NA, or whatever is suitable for your child.
Okay. Thank you, Sabia. Would my IP heads, especially math, would you like to add on regarding the allocation for standard or foundation level for your subject? Madam Go?
Yeah, right. Okay, so for maths, you will be allocated foundation maths or standard maths. So when a child have shown that they need extra time to learn the fundamentals of the mathematics, then we will then decide to stream them to and recommend them the foundation mathematics. And for mathematics especially, it is really important to build the fundamentals instead of pushing them to a higher level, because it will not help them speed up the learning, neither will it help the child become better. In fact, sometimes when we didn't get the child to be more stable with the fundamentals, it may discourage them further. Yeah, so that's why with whatever the child can do and with the performance in their items, their basic items in our maths paper, we will then decide whether they needed the foundation maths or they are more suited for the standard mathematics. Yep. Yeah. So this is how maths is the SBB is done for P4.
Okay, thank you, Madam Go. So it's important. We actually have the panel of teachers, a team of teachers. So all the subject teachers who teach your child will be there to discuss and deliberate on what's best for your child. And it doesn't only depend on one subject. We look at all the other subjects and whether your child would be able to cope with all four subjects. Yeah, so it's a combination. If your child is struggling with all four subjects and weaker in one of them, then it would be advisable for your child to do a foundation subject for that particular, if it's, let's say, mathematics, so that he or she will be able to manage and cope with the other subjects as well. Yeah, so every child is unique. Attitudes different, aptitudes different, and we will look into all that, and our subject teachers will be able to give us very good advice, and they will propose what's best for your child. Okay. Okay, it's a question on CCA. Yeah, we will end off with this last question on CCA, because P3s, they're starting to have taster modules, modular CCA, and then P4. Yeah, can my P3 child change his or her CCA after a year? Okay, so Mrs. Chi, our year head, can you take this question, please?
Okay, sure. So, yes, the students can change their CCA after a year, but the school will really like to strongly discourage that. When we receive such a request, we will usually work very closely with the parents to understand the reason for the child to quit. We need to help the students to understand that in order for them to master a set of skills, it requires perseverance and hard work. And we want to build the resilience in the students and not shape them into an individual who gives up easily. So that's the reason why, even though the option is possible, we will strongly like to discourage that and do work out the issues with the teachers in charge and help the children overcome the difficulties instead of giving up too easily. Thank you.
Okay. So it's sometimes, thank you, Mrs. Chi. Sometimes for CCA skills, we need time. And your kid may start early, and after a while, it's a bit tough on them. But sometimes you will not see the results or the child blossoming yet. You need to give it a little bit more time. Then you will see your child blossom in that CCA. So parents, to encourage your child to continue, then they'll see the results coming out. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we are running a bit late, but we will put up if there are any other questions. 5:10. I think we will end right here. We don't want to overrun our session. We want to thank you for all the questions that you have sent in. We hope that we've been able to answer your questions, or if we did not answer your question, do feel free to write in to clarify, and we'll be more than happy to engage you. Okay. All right. With that, we want to thank you, parents, for your time and for being with us. And we hope that the session has been useful and helpful for you. And we will see your child back in school tomorrow to celebrate National Day. Okay. Thank you, panelists. We'll see everyone tomorrow. Goodbye.